Y'all, OBS crashed as soon as I hit the go live button. Oh my god. Okay, is everything alright? Is everything working? I hope everything is working. I guess we're just gonna find out. Hey, look at that. Everything's working. Hi, Kat. Yeah, OBS like instantly crashed. I hit go live and it went, oh, goodbye. But it seems to be okay now. And we have a cat cam. Crochet makes you think you can't count. Yeah, that's actually what crochet is for. It's to make you feel dumber. I should get the, here we are. Get the chat up on my phone so I can actually read it without having to, like, squint. Hello, welcome, Sylvia. Yeah, it was good. It was a good jump scare for me. It was like, oh, running kind of late. I'm like, it's been one of those days where I feel like I'm just behind constantly, and I didn't even have a lot to do today. It was the only thing I really had to do was take the cat to the vet, right? But it's hot. It's real hot and sweaty, and my body is doing things to me today. It's been a pretty miserable few days in my body. And so you know, I'm feeling real good about streaming today. So I almost fell asleep. Well, whatever. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. We got everything sorted out, and stream seems to be working now. Heather, welcome. Everything sounds good on your end. Excellent, excellent. Lurking is definitely allowed. And yeah, I hope everyone is having a good Juneteenth. Well, we'll talk more about that, but it's kind of a new concept to me. Not like brand new or anything, but like just the past few years. First time I ever heard of Juneteenth was just within the last few years, and so I've had to do some learning. Lurk mode activated for polished mess as well. Welcome, Ashley. Ooh, Kat, you got rain. Very exciting. Discord was talking about it coming for a full 45 minutes. We've had nothing but rain for the past 2 weeks or so. It's rained almost every day for like definitely more than a week. And we actually got a little bit of sun earlier today. But then it stormed again. So we have waves of storming coming through. We have Jammy Dodgers on the cat cam. She had her monthly vet appointment today. We used to do them on Wednesdays, but we've switched them to Thursdays now. So this is going to be every fourth stream. You're gonna hear about Jammy Dodgers having a vet appointment because she has to get a monthly injection for her arthritis. So she's had some sort of a rough day, but nothing too out of the ordinary for her. You have some serious soupy heat? Yeah. So it was actually kind of chilly here for several days. For almost a week. It's been like just cold and rainy. For a little bit it was like sort of warm and rainy for a few days, but then like for the entire last week it's been cold and rainy. Which is really annoying because it's been too humid to open the house up. Which is like, you know, normally when it's not blazingly hot out in the summertime, we like to open up the house, turn off the AC, just get some fresh air. But even if it's cool enough, if the humidity is too high, it's bad. The upstairs of the house is carpeted and it's real old carpet, and we've had cats here that had some incontinence issues. And if the humidity gets too high, you can smell it. So it's like, is there new pee or is that old pee? Sort of a fun game to play walking through the house. Really enjoy that. So yeah, we have to be careful when it's too humid. So we haven't been able to open up the house in a couple of weeks now. It's been pretty crappy, but that's okay. Yeah, humidity is almost always too high with the radiating heat in the city. So we're enough sort of out of any kind of, concrete mess that when the temperature drops, it's quite nice. But it is, our area is quite swampy. We are built on a wetlands, or immediately adjacent to a wetlands, so it is quite moist here. Yeah, she does seem pretty unfazed, doesn't she? She's so used to it, though. She's very good at the vet. She doesn't like it, obviously, but sometimes the vet tech will just come out to the waiting room and just take her in her arms and carry her back. Because I don't like she's literally just there for a quick injection, and then she comes back out. So they don't usually bother doing like bringing me back and having us in a waiting room or anything like that. There's nothing, because there's no examination happening. It's just she gets jabbed and then she comes home. But so it's relatively chill, but she doesn't love it. And then as soon as she gets home, she gets treats. So it's not the worst. So today, it's Juneteenth, and as I said, Juneteenth, fairly new to me, and I know that part of that is because I am Canadian, and so we learn a certain amount of U.S. history, partly just because a lot of our media is American, and partly because some amount of it is taught in schools. Not that much, though. There's not a lot of U.S. history taught unless you sort of get really interested in history and purposely take American history courses later on in high school or in college. So basically anything you get on U.S. history is pretty much going to be through. Look at that little stretch. What a good girl. It's pretty much going to be through the media, right? So most of my U.S. history is from movies and sort of osmotically taking in information through media. At least that was the case before moving down here. And then, of course, part of it is just that I'm white. It's real easy to not know shit when you're white. Truly, it's real easy to not know shit when you're white. You just have to not make an effort. And then there's also the fact that, of course, it was made a federal holiday in 2021. So that's quite recent, and I think that's when I first heard about it, was because suddenly it's a federal holiday. It's something that you hear mentioned, and so I started looking into it a little bit, and so it's interesting because and this is like super broad sweeps. I do not have all the information. I have tried to read up a little bit about it. But my understanding is that basically this is something that started as a very community-focused celebration, community, church, family, in specifically Galveston, Texas, and then has spread out from there, which is really quite interesting, actually, because so many of the holidays that we have Either they are things where the government has said, we are going to mark this thing on this day, or they're things that have, been part of whatever culture for such a long time that there's not really sort of a starting point to them. I mean, there is, but, like it's hard to point to like, at what point did we start conventionally having Christmas on December 25th? Right? Like what was the day that happened? I don't know. Right? So there's stuff like that. So it's quite a contrast from those things I think it's really interesting that it took place in this particular way and has grown out of this very sort of small community centered sort of celebration. Hi, Najwa. Kat says, I, not that surprisingly, did not learn about Juneteenth specifically in my very white, more southern elementary school. Yeah, so even people in the U.S., not necessarily part of their education. So, yeah, and I'm sure Kevin's education, he's in a different kind of school. He's in a majority non-white school. So that's going to make a difference. Also, the fact that it's now a federal holiday is going to make a difference. It's something that they're probably going to do projects about, right? Like they're going to have some kind of a thing for that day. So it's great that it is being brought into sort of more into the public eye. Although I do worry about how it's going to be taught in light of the way that the current administration, not just at the federal level, but at the state level in many areas, really doesn't want to teach any kind of history that does not align with a very specific set of values, right? So the notion that there was this grassroots, very much grassroots celebration that, and even now, like a lot of the stuff that I've seen about it in sort of official media and when white people are talking about it, there's a lot of like, oh, well, the government did this and they declared that, and then so-and-so rode down to Galveston to tell the people, and wasn't that great, and oh yay, the government came through. But what was actually happening in the lead up to that was just like a huge amount of grassroots revolutionary action that led up to a lot of these events and kind of forced the issue. And I fear that sort of thing being swept under the rug. It's real easy to sweep that stuff under the rug. So I've been trying to get most of my information from Black creators and websites that have more of that history, rather than just sort of listening to the official line. So so that's what I've been reading about today. And we're gonna do a Manny. We're gonna do a Juneteenth Manny, and I pulled a bunch of colors because I'm not sure what direction I want to take it. Because there's an official Juneteenth flag, which is a red, white, and blue flag, and that's not the correct thing that I'm looking for. I'm just going to bring up a little thing on the screen here. Let's see. Hello, are you going to focus up? No, you don't want to focus today? Hello? Hello? Really? Seriously? This camera seems to be having some issues. There we go. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so I just want to bring up What are you doing? Why is this not... OBS is having issues, y'all. I don't know if I can bring it up. What is going on? It's not letting me, it's not letting me change the display thing for this. This is very annoying. Sorry, y'all. I am struggling here. All right, well, I guess I'm not showing you the flag because OBS is really having an issue. It's not even switching promptly. I might actually, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. There's a chance I might have to restart the stream, but we'll see. Anyway, so the flag is, I guess I'll just describe it to you. You can also, of course, just look it up. It's basically got like a blue sky with an arced area that's red underneath. And then in the center, there's a 5-pointed star that's filled in white. And around that, there's a 12-pointed star that's filled in, that's not filled in. It's just like a white line. So that's an option. We could do the official Juneteenth flag. And that, you know, we could do like a whole design based on those colors. Or we could choose to do just a single nail that's based on that design. Well, no, it's not, hi, Linery. It's, I know it works on layers. It's not even letting me, oh, shit, now it's coming up. It wasn't letting me access the settings for it. It's still not letting me access the settings for it. So I can't actually change what, I can't actually change what that is. So it was hidden, but it's not actually letting me change, like select what window is being shown is the problem. And I had it hidden because I wasn't sure what it was currently on. And normally I can access and like select the window even while that object is hidden, but it's not letting me do that. And it's also lagging on the inputs. So we are having issues. I did do the flag last year. You are quite correct, Sassy. Which is why I also looked up a bunch of other things. Sorry, I'm just, I want to try and find all my... So I looked up a bunch of other designs that... Can I make this? There we are. So I kind of liked in this one, it has the like birds. I thought that was a nice, just kind of a nice design. The birds in the colors. So these colors are very frequently associated with Juneteenth. You see this in a ton of Juneteenth designs. Someone's going to correct me if I'm wrong about this. I believe, are these not the African flag colors? Is that correct? Not the African flag, Jesus Christ, Peggy. These are like African, like typical African associated colors, right? Doing a really good job. That was such a statement. So anyway, these colors are associated with Juneteenth all the time. There's a bunch of beautiful designs. This one, I like the idea of maybe having the fist on one finger. I like the flowers. This is just a lovely idea to have this. I don't know that I'd be able to do like this silhouette properly. I really like this, like, this geometric patterning thing. I don't know if the pattern really is evocative enough with just the colors. This one's really cool because it has the 12 pointed star made out of the colors. Sassy Dog Mom is saying Pan Africa flag is red, green, black. So it does not have the yellow in it. Interesting. Hi, Venus. Thank you for showing up. And May, thank you as well. Hello, welcome. And then this is just cute. I just think this is cute. I like this. I also had an idea to maybe just do the colors, like have like choose one color for the background for each nail, like use one of these 4 colors for the background for each nail, and then just do like write the word Juneteenth across the nail in one of the other colors, so that like each nail, so say I had like if I had a yellow background on this nail, it would have the J, the U, and maybe the N on this nail in, say, for instance, the dark green. And then on this nail, maybe the background would be red, and I would have E-T in black or whatever, right? So sort of play with it that way. I thought that might be an interesting idea. Kat, when you say boo OBS and you type it out like that, it looks like you're just saying boobs. Venus, you said that one is nice, but I don't know which one you were talking about. Anything with hearts you like? Yeah. May, has it been a rough day? I'm glad you're presumably done work now and ready to chill out, I hope. Okay, so yeah, so there's a bunch of different options. And so one of the things that I did consider was maybe doing like the flag on the thumb, but then doing the other 4 fingers in these colors that are more typically associated with Juneteenth. Because it seems like yes, the flag exists, is the official flag. It's, it's associated with more like, it seems to be associated more with like official and government events, as opposed to the various different designs using these 4 colors that I see almost across the board on community-led events. And so to me, that feels more like the right choice to focus on those colors. But I also wouldn't be opposed to incorporating the official flag either. Yeah, these hearts are super cute. I really like this, and I feel like it would be possible to maybe do like multiple sizes of overlapping hearts just like across the nails. And just kind of play in the space. You know what I mean? I could even do them as decals. That could be interesting. Do like paint a black background, and then do the squiggles in the different colors, and then actually use my heart-shaped hole punch. That would mean they would all be the same size, though. That's the only problem with that. But that's kind of a cute idea. I'm not mad at that concept. Sassy, you vote the 4 colors since I did the flag last year. I think that's very reasonable. All right, so we'll definitely do the 4 colors. And I think I'm leaning toward the hearts, and it sounds like there's some support for doing the hearts as well. So I'm gonna close this because I think I'm good with this. I don't think we necessarily need to see that anymore. And then we need to talk about what polishes I'm going to use for this, because I pulled a few different options because I wasn't sure which direction I wanted to go. So, cremes. I have cremes. Always a solid choice. I'm gonna move. I had pulled a bunch of blues and whites as well, but since we're not gonna need those, I'll just put those off to the side. Okay, so we have the creme option. I have a magnetic option, but the magnetic would have to, I don't have like a black magnetic that's like just black. I'm not sure what that would look like. But you know, I could pull some kind of a black that would go with this. We can figure that shit out. Something sparkly. I have some crushed hollow colors, and I do have a black crushed hollow that I can pull for this. So there's those ones, and then I have shimmers. So a few different options. We got the shimmers, we got the magnetics, we got the hollow flake, we got the creme. Do those tall bottles fit in the Alex? Yeah, I think so. Let me check that actually. No, they fit in my other Alex, because I have two kinds of Alex. They fit in one but not the other. So the standard tall boy Alex, they do not fit. They're too tall for that. They're the only ones that I have that don't. Yeah, let's do a poll. Good call, Najwa. Start a poll. Creme, mag, shimmy, or hello. There we go. You have a lot of shaped hole punches. It never occurred to you that you can use them on decals? Yeah. You just got to make sure that they are the right amount dry. If they're a little too fresh, then they'll tend to be a little sticky. But if they get too dry, they can get brittle. So there's kind of a sweet spot. But because they're decals, you know, you can always, if they get a little too dry, you can tell when you're peeling them if they're too dry, if they're gonna start getting brittle, and you can always just like put a top coat on it to sort of re-wet them slightly, and then, you know, wait 20 minutes or whatever, and they'll be perfect. You're always the minority in these polls, Ashley. I'm sorry. What do we got here? All right, full disclosure, I voted for hollow. But I could have gone any way. Although it looks like if I had voted a different way, it wouldn't have actually mattered. Hollow was second choice for both Venus and Ashley. Well, it sounds like hollow is the correct choice then. So let's go ahead and do those. I'm going to put everything else aside, and I'm going to go grab my black hollow because I forgot to grab that. Okay. So, and since we happen to have chosen a set that I got through PR, I need to disclose these guys I got through PR. I don't even know if they're available anymore. They were from Wildflower, which has rebranded to Royla Lee. So these are part of the Jeweled collection, which I have no idea if that still exists under the Royal Lee. But got him as PR, so gotta say it. I'm gonna end the poll. There we go. Okay. Sassy, yes, you wanted hollow. It's nice that you got your way. Okay, so if we are going to do hearts, do we want to do them as decals? Or do we want to just paint them? Whatever you do, don't put them into something altogether. Oh, decals? Is that what you're talking about, Najwa? Y'all think I should just paint them? All right, I'll just paint them. That's cool. Venus, I know a lot of people have feelings about the name change. Here are my thoughts. Because you know I'm an opinionated bitch. Brian's little voice from the other room. No, you're not. Wildflower lacquer, very difficult to get decent search engine optimization for. Really hard to find what you're looking for. If you want, with most polish brands, if you want to find a specific polish, you can look up, the name of the brand and the name of the polish, and it's going to crop right up, right? Without fail. Works every time. Wildflower, at least half the time it did not. Because Wildflower is a brand name that is used by so many people for so many things. And B, just a freaking word that goes with a lot of stuff. Really hard for search engine optimization. So it was actually a good choice for her to get rid of that name. Now, Royal Lee, I think a lot of people have trouble with it because they want it to be Royal Lee. And also it's weird that it's royally. Like, it kind of messes with your brain a little bit. But it's named after her grandmother, Royal Lee. And I think, as much as it is a little bit of a challenge for people, and probably also really not great for search engines because they get auto-corrected to Royal Lee, which is a problem that you need to think about. It is kind of lovely that she named it after her grandmother. It's sweet. So, solving a problem by introducing a different problem, maybe not so great. Naming something after your grandmother, adorable. Hard to argue with. Those are my thoughts. Yeah, Najwa, the punch-out decals, they are brutal. And yes, the delay is real. The delay is real both with the stream chat delay and the delay where it takes me a while to stop talking and actually look at what you've said. Yeah, that was exactly Venus. As soon as you find out it's named after her grandmother, you're like, oh, okay, well, that's sweet then. I still don't love it, but that's sweet. So, yeah, it's real hard to argue with someone naming their business after their grandmother. And it does actually, the fact that it's named after her grandmother is, like, extra nice in terms of sort of the vintagey feel to a lot of her stuff. It fits in nicely. Okay, so if we're hand painting this, I think what I want to do then is do the black as the background for all the nails, and then do the colors over top, maybe? Question mark? Or do I want to do the yellow as the background? No, I'm going to do the yellow as the background. I'm going to do the yellow as the background, and then I'm going to do it like it is in that image. I'm going to do the yellow as the background, and then I'm going to paint the little squiggly things in the heart shapes with black as well. I think I want to take this more directly as inspiration. Yeah, polished mess can be I mean, everything can be challenging in terms of search engine optimization. There's a lot of factors that you kind of need to take into account, and one of the things that that I have done for my businesses when I have wanted to change names is actually spend some time searching for the name that I want on a variety of different like social media and search engines. What comes up if you Google image search the name that you want? What comes up if you Google the name that you want? What comes up if you DuckDuckGo it? What comes up if you check for it on Twitter, Facebook, whatever. But also, what comes up if you typo it in a variety of different ways on all of those things? Can people spell it? Can people pronounce it? The very first business name that my science art business had, turned out nobody could pronounce or spell it. It was a huge problem. And I ended up changing it as a result. People are going to be able to misspell and mispronounce anything. But some things are just extra easy to mess up. So you got to think about those things. Don't do Ashley. It would bring us too many. Yeah, there are a lot of Ashleys in the nail community for sure. I mean, there's just a lot of Ashleys in the world. It's not a bad thing. It's fine. Did Jamie leave? Oh, she left. I didn't even notice. Oh, she needed to get a drink of water, Brian says. Maymay, in your own friend group for gaming, there's 3 Maymays? That's wild. I agree with Sassy. You are Maymay Prime. Brian thinks that may be too many Maymays. Yeah. I'm also thinking I need to do something on the other hand as well, so maybe I'll just do a Skittle. Should I do the same polishes? I should probably just do the same polishes, right? That'll be easier. We'll just go ahead and slap these on, because my right hand, I'm attempting to let it grow out again. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. My right hand, being my dominant hand, gets so much more abuse. So it tends to break more often, and so I've just been keeping it short for a while. But I kind of want to have it a little longer for PBE. I just think it would be nice to be able to have, at least somewhat more even nails for PBE. Is that silly of me? Yeah, completely. But that's okay. Let me have my little bit of vanity. All right. Had to do a little cleanup there. Ray is trying desperately to get me to use the rainbow magnetics on my other hand. You know what, Ray? For you, my friend, I'm going to, but I don't have a magnetic black, so I'm going to use the black hollow. But I will do the others in the magnetic, okay? Just for you. I want to do this nail black. Poor Ray with the delay and me not looking at chat. No, magnetics, please. Oh God, I'll die if we don't do magnetics. Ah! Yeah, did you escape the dog, or are you still trapped with your hand in a dog cone? And should I do velvet, or should I do do the ring magnet for these? I'm just gonna do the first coat unmagnetized because fuck it. And we're gonna ignore the fact that I used a hollow base for the other two. You're still trapped? Poor Ray. Poor Pupper. It's so sad when they have medical needs. You wish you could explain to them that they are, in fact, going to be okay. It's so sad. Such a hard life for Pupper. Alright, I gotta do some more cleanup here. I managed to make a heck of a mess over here. To nobody's surprise, trying to paint with my non-dominant hand is always fun. Gonna go feed the boys. Say hello to the kitties for me. You're feeling velvet? All right. You got it. I was kind of hoping you'd say velvet. Do I want a second coat? I think I do want a second coat. It's so close to being, well, maybe I don't. Yeah, no, I'm going to do a second coat. It's like so close to fully opaque with one coat, but I feel like that there's like just enough of an undertone from my skin to like annoy me slightly. It just pulls the color off a little bit. One of the only almost one coat yellows I've ever owned. And I know it's partly because the crushed hollow or the flake hollow really adds a lot of opacity to it, but still super impressive. I really liked this collection. What is flying around my studio? Hello? Something just flew by. Better not be a mosquito. There was a mosquito in the bathroom the other night. I got up in the middle of the night to pee. Goddamn mosquito. Yeah, that's better. Second coat was correct. Definitely. And we are going to do a top coat on this hand before we move on to the nail art part of things. Okay, so get out our little velvet thing here. Somebody was showing Prima nails in PNG, I think is the username. Prima was showing some really interesting looking magnetic rig, 3D printed magnetic rig that I guess has like different positions you can set up the magnets on, which looked quite interesting. But it seems like it's not currently purchasable. There's no website. The Instagram account says patent pending. So I DM'd them. I was like, hello, this is relevant to my interests. Ooh, look at that. So good. I think the hollow is showing through just a little bit. The hollow flake is showing through just a little bit at the one angle, which is kind of nice. It looks sort of like amber. You love your Ray magnetic rig? Yeah, these are fantastic for velvet. And I adore them. Nothing beats these for velvet. They're so much easier to deal with than the 30-pound horseshoe, especially when I'm like set up with, you know, doing multiple nails at the same time. I cannot bring the 30-pound horseshoe into that. It does not play well with others. And also I find when I'm filming, if I'm like filming content, it throws off the color, because I have one of the red ones, right? Throws off the color if that red is too visible. So I don't like to use that for the most part, especially since these things do just as good a job. So, but yeah, the other thing just looks like you can do a lot of different things with it. So I thought it was cool and potentially a fun thing to play with. Okay, I'm gonna need that and that, and flip this way, please. All right, we want that, and that. And I've glued them in now. They're all glued into place. I don't know if you all remember. Some of you were definitely here for it. I tried to do this at one point in time during a live stream before gluing in the magnets, and oh boy, did I ever have fun with that. Can't remember. Was that my birthday stream? That might have been my birthday stream. You haven't seen the new one? Yeah. Well, go check out Nails in PNG, I think is her Instagram handle. It's, I think, the latest post. Did the magnets fly out? Yes. They extremely flew out. And like flew out of one and attached to the other in just the best possible way. It was really good. I very much appreciated having that happen in the middle of stream. All right, I'll just let that sit for a minute. I'll do a second coat of the black while I have this going. This hand is not getting nail art because I don't have that kind of patience tonight. Try and do nail art on my other hand. Not tonight. Sometimes yes. Today, no. Sassy remembers the Great Magnet incident. It was really, really good. Some of the holders, there's like just enough variation in the print and also in the magnet size. Even though they're all from the same batch of magnets, if there's even just like the tiniest fraction difference, it doesn't take much for it to be just enough reduction in friction for the magnets to just go flying. So yes, I ended up gluing them into place with E6000. And they don't do that anymore, and it's great. I love it. Okay, that's probably good enough. And I don't think I'm going to need a third coat for these. I think I'm just going to top coat them after they've dried a little bit more. It's probably fine. Go ahead and put these up on the magnet board. Okay, back to work with these. I need top coat before I start getting into nail art. Which one am I going to use? Let's use this one. Too many top coats to choose from. Does it matter which one I use? Meh. Probably mostly not. Oh, oh, oh. Cat hair on my nail just got picked up onto the brush. Perfect. Love that. I'm glad that you agree that 2 coats is good for this hand, because I did not want to do a 3rd coat for that hand. I probably could have done the hollow as an undie for a single coat of the magnetic to get closer to the way that the yellow ones look, but meh. Yeah, the downside of 3D printing is that the dimensional accuracy is variable depending on the material and print settings. But also, even just like from one print to another, you can just have just the teensiest little bit of variance. It doesn't have to be very much. It can be a 1/10 of a millimeter. And that can be enough if you've got a friction fit. Especially if you've got a friction fit with something that involves strong magnets. Okay. So, do I want to... I think I want to, like, make the shape of the heart in black and then do the colors over top. Yeah, exactly, Ray. The magnets themselves have a slight amount of variation. I did actually mention that, I think. Even though all my magnets are from the same purchased batch. Again, just those itty-bitty tiny little variations can really make a big difference. All right. We're gonna try doing the not easy way. And I think we'll just kind of sketch them in and not worry too much about them being perfect, because it's sort of a sketchy design, right? So we'll try and get them reasonably heart-shaped. And I do want different sizes of hearts, I think. I'm going to do like some overlaps. I want that to come out a little bit more. Down a little more here, and then bring that one over. Yeah, I kind of just want to play in the space and sort of take some inspiration from that design without completely just doing that exact design. Do I want to have overlapping or no? That's a question. I feel like it might get too complicated looking if I overlap. I think I like the layout here. And then each one of them will have the 3 colors ziggy-zaggies. I need acetone to clean my brush. Marie, you like it without the overlap? All right. I think so too. Okay, now let's try and do some semi-reasonable hearts on these other nails. See if I just got lucky with my thumbnail, or if I've actually gotten marginally better at doing hearts. I have just really struggled with hearts for so many years. This is very difficult for me. I feel like I've gotten slightly less bad at them over the years, but they're still just really hard to do. Thankfully, with this design, I can just kind of fudge it a little bit. I think I want a little heart up here. Because since these are going to have both the black and the squigglies, if I do a bad job and I have to just like make the outline thicker, it's fine because other polish is going to go over top of it. So it's a relatively low pressure context for trying to do hearts. Also, I want to just shout out everybody on my last stream who right at the end of stream hollered at me because I was thinking about what I wanted to do for tonight's stream, and I had not made a decision. And I was thinking maybe to do more pride nails. And just as I was closing up the stream, I saw, because there is the chat delay, I saw some chats coming in with just like a flood of Juneteenth. So thank you for yelling at me to do Juneteenth nails today, because it was the correct thing to do. So awesome chat is awesome. Great suggestion. And it also forced me to do a little bit more work than I was possibly likely to do in terms of learning to make sure that I did not completely fuck up my very brief explanation at the beginning. Because, boy, that would have been embarrassing. I mean, y'all know I'm an idiot, but I don't want to be that much of an idiot, you know? I feel like there's a reasonable limit to being an idiot. Hearts are a labor of love for you, too, yeah. They're a lot. It's like... It seems like they should be easy. They never are. They're always so much more difficult than I expect them to be. And I don't want to do too many of them that are super duper small, because that will make it hard to get the like sketchy inside lines. But I also want some nice variation in size, so it's like trying to figure out where exactly the balance is on that. Okay. You go with stamping? Yeah. You appreciate safe, pale allies in this wild time? Well, we're doing our best. You know? Far from perfect. Very far from perfect, but trying. Learning and growing. I'm trying not to fuck up too much on the way. Right? That's all anyone can do. And if you're not even trying to do that, then I don't know how to help you. All right. More. Oh boy, that's a big old glob. They told me that I was going to get more conservative as I got older. And I'm not sure when that's supposed to start, because I'm like going to be 50 in a year. And I feel like it's not happening yet. So I don't know if it's them or me that's wrong, but I think that nail only gets 2 hearts. And here I'm going to do one that's mostly kind of centered. Yeah, you too, Cat. I think a lot of it is actually about comfort and the fear of losing comfort. But we don't need to get all into that tonight. I think maybe like a little heart over here. Oh, okay. Well, it's going to be a little bigger than intended because I screwed it up a bit, but that's okay. Smaller one there, and maybe just like the bottom of one over here. I think a lot of us pasty creators are scared to talk about some of this stuff for fear of either getting it wrong or being seen as making it about us, which I think is not a totally invalid concern. But I think that it also means that you're sort of letting yourself stay in a comfortable place. Which I think is maybe not so great. Like, I never want to be talking over anybody who is, in any context, anybody who is like more in a position to speak on an issue than I am, right? Like, I feel like that's a serious concern, which is why, like, you know, I spent some time today on Instagram just like watching content and reposting content to my stories from Black creators. Okay to participate in it? I've had this conversation actually with Ashley, because at one point in time, Ashley had an immigrant collab, and actually she's done a bunch of them. But the first one that I participated in, I remember talking to her about it and being like, I have been seeing this thing and feeling like I wanted to participate in it, but also I wasn't totally comfortable because I didn't feel like it was for me, even though I am an immigrant. But there's a thing where you don't want to, because you don't want to talk over people, it makes you not want to talk at all. And I don't think that that's the right way to go about it. I think if you don't want to talk at all, then you're leaving it completely to people that look like you saying horrible things, or people who don't look like you feeling like they're the only ones who give a shit about things that affect them. And neither one of those things is okay with me. So that's kind of where I'm at with it at this point. And this is all still like shit that's in my head that I'm sort of processing and thinking about. And some of it I'm thinking about as I'm talking, processing out loud with you on the internet, which is definitely totally reasonable and safe and fine. But yeah, I don't know. Brains are funny. Sometimes we aren't sure what is okay. And so we shut up instead of diving in. And to some extent, shutting up is correct. But not completely. You have returned from the feeding? That's the thing, right? It's hard to draw that line, right? Like when is doing a stream about, doing Juneteenth nails, is it virtue signaling? Like is it trying to talk to people like me? Like I'm not telling any of you anything you don't already know. Like I don't know, it's hard to know where all the lines are sometimes. That's all. Everyone in chat, oil. Thank you, Kat, for the reminder. Okay, the green goes on the other side in this design. I feel like this green is it just a tiny bit too... I'm not 100% happy with this green. Hang on a second. I'm gonna do a mix. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. May says, I want to be more vocal, but I'm not entirely sure if it's acceptable. That's a thing that I think a lot of people get a little bit stuck on. And I don't think it's like wrong that you get stuck on it. I think it's good that you are thinking about it and, actively engaging your brain with these ideas. But yeah, it's hard to know when it's okay. And I think, part of that is just who is being centered in the conversation. Now, right now, I'm very much centering the feelings of people that aren't sure how to be good allies. But I think that's because there's a number of people in chat right now that are, trying to be good allies and not always sure exactly what that looks like, which is a conversation that people trying to be good allies need to have with each other. But, going out into the world, it needs to be less about us and more about people that are directly affected. And that's for any given topic. I've just mixed a little bit of hypnotic in with my vintage to get it slightly lighter and slightly more green, because vintage is just a little bit more on the teal side as it is. So if anybody was curious what I was just doing there, I just took a little of hypnotic here and added it to vintage. Yeah. So I think, for me, the answer that I have kind of fallen on is as long as I'm talking to people in my group, whatever group that happens to be for a given conversation, then that's a different conversation than if I'm talking to people who are in the more oppressed group about the thing, right? If you're talking to people that are in the more oppressed group about the thing, you probably need to do a lot more listening and a lot less talking. Which doesn't mean your voice is never welcome. It just means you need to think about whether what you're saying is adding to the conversation in ways that are needed and wanted. Does that make sense? It's kind of where my brain is at. I don't know. I'm just a dumb white bitch. Yeah, this is the other thing, Sassy, exactly, that silence speaks volumes. So in this case, we're talking about Juneteenth. If you are a white person who is completely silent about something like Juneteenth, then you're telling black people that you don't care. And that's not okay, right? And similarly, we're also in the middle of Pride Month. If you're a cis person not saying a thing, if you're completely silent about trans issues during Pride Month, and especially in light of what's going on in the US right now, you're saying a lot by shutting the hell up. And that's not okay. So I think that's an important consideration. All right, so for this part of things, I'm going to mostly leave the yellow in the middle sort of blank and just try to make some lines that indicate, and this might be such a huge mistake for this design. I'm going to find out whether I end up hating this, but I'm just going to try making some lines in the design to make it look more ziggy-zaggy, if that makes sense. I might end up hating this. I might end up hating this and just deciding to go over it with the pure color again, but we'll see. I kind of want to have that scribbly look. And I feel like it's going to work better on the bigger hearts than it does on the smaller hearts. Some streamers don't care to realize they even have a black audience. I mean, that's stupid. I don't know. I guess if you don't care about your audience, that's fine. I want my audience to be having a good time, especially since most of you are people I just talk to on a regular basis. So, it would be weird if I didn't give a shit, I think. All right. Well, it's not bad, I think. It's not bad. It's it doesn't suck. I'm not mad at it. What do we think? I think it'll look better too once it's got top coat on it. Sort of smooth things out a little bit. Definitely doing less line work on the small hearts is very helpful. Christine didn't acknowledge it. I mean, Christine is also Canadian, which, yes, I recognize as a Canadian saying that, talking about this. But it's not a factor. Like, I realize most of her audience is American, but she probably doesn't have a clear idea of what Juneteenth is, if she even knows it exists, if she's even heard of it. Because it's just not, it's not something that, as I was saying at the beginning, that we ever learned we didn't learn any of that in school. So I guarantee you she had zero formal education on any of that. The only thing that Canadian schools teach about any of that, or at least when I was a kid, the only thing they taught about any of that was that Canada was the good guys. Yeah, well, we didn't do anything like that. No, we helped with the Underground Railroad. Yeah, we were the good guys. Sure, we were. Canada has never once done anything wrong, ever. According to what I learned in public school and high school. Hi, Allie. Welcome. The Underground Railroad is the only thing you knew? Yeah. Yeah, because it was mostly going into Canada, right? We were the saviors. That's what they taught us. It's a little fucked up, but that was a good proportion of what we learned about all of the slave trade and every part of emancipation. It's like U.S. schools do a bad job of teaching it. Canadian schools do an even worse job of teaching it because, you know, a lot of it we get to just go, oh, that was them, that wasn't us. We didn't do bad things like that. We were helping. We were the good guys. But, like, come on, y'all. We had Japanese internment camps. We had slaves. We had the fucking residential schools. We did all the same fucked up bullshit. And some exciting fucked up bullshit of our own. But yeah, not to like completely excuse lack of wanting to learn about it or trying to learn about it as an adult. But yeah, it's entirely possible that it's just like a completely unknown concept to her. and it's hard to, as a Canadian, if you're not living in the U.S., um, it's hard to like to sort of get started with learning about U.S. history, because everything is just so different, and you don't even have the grounding that you had that Americans had in US history. So it's not even like, oh, so I can just add this other information onto this stuff that I already know. No, you're learning a whole other country's history from right from square one. So it's a lot. So it takes a very, very long time. And I think as much as a lot of Americans have to learn a lot of this stuff on their own, it's even more so when you're not American. So, yeah, Ray, you didn't know anything about Juneteenth until last year because work made it a holiday. Ray, another Canadian who works in the U.S., why would you know about it? Until your workplace made it a holiday. You had no reason to know about it because it's not a thing in Canada. It doesn't exist. So, well, there's something to be said for sort of being extremely online and picking things up that way. But I think we all know that not everybody is equally online. You're more delayed on stream than usual? Oh no. I'm sorry. I am going to top coat. Oh, that is, I want to flip that. I'm going to top coat these other nails because I did not top coat them yet. And then let this stuff dry, and then I'll top coat that hand as well. We have a guy coming tomorrow, not tomorrow, Saturday at like frickin' 8 a.m. to take apart our back deck. And I'm already dreading having to get up that early. It's only Thursday and I'm already thinking about, oh God, I have to get up so early on Saturday. This is the worst. We're removing our back deck, and because it's just really old and falling apart and broken, and there's like holes in it now, and you're like, every time I step out on it, I'm like, is today the day I go through the deck? So that's all being taken apart, and we're having the whole yard re-landscaped, and we're gonna put in like stones, like a stone patio instead of a raised wood deck. So excited about that, but yeah, not excited to get up friggin' ridiculously early in the morning on Saturday. We one of the things that we've been wanting to do for a while is get rid of we have a bunch of like invasive English ivy and also pachysandra on the property, and then like there's a bunch of just like shitty grass that doesn't grow very well because it's a hillside that's in full sun in a very rainy area, and so like gets blasted with sun or gets totally eroded with rain, and those are the options. So it's either a drought and everything dies, or it's a flood and everything gets washed away. And so we're basically getting rid of everything and putting in all native plants. So super stoked to just do a full native yard, putting in some shrubs to help slow down the water at one part, do a little berm, and then also some like tiered gardens to take in water from. We're gonna put in rain barrel, and then have like trickle watering into the tiered garden, and all of that will hopefully reduce the erosion down the side of the house, which is causing flooding into the garage. So fingers crossed we'll end up with a drier garage and a more beautiful yard that does a better job of supporting our local critters. Excited about that. Sass, you get extra love and pampering today from your husband. He knows it's hard out here for a black woman to thrive. You got a good man. You got a good man. And that's a beautiful thing. All right. Top coat this thumb. I'm not sure exactly when the landscapers are coming. I think they were talking about sometime like mid or late July, something like that, which might mean that I'm at PBE for a good chunk of the work that happens. So it might be the case that I end up coming home from PBE to a whole new yard, which would be very exciting. You remind him that it used to be illegal for them to be married, for you two to be married. That's adorable. Uh-oh, Ray. Dogs are getting whiny. All right. Thanks for coming by. It's good to have you here. Take good care of those puppers. One of those dogs doesn't even have a right to be whiny today. Only one of them had a medical procedure. The other one is just being a big baby. All right. That's probably long enough. And I don't think I need to use a smudge-free coat for this. These should not smear, I believe. I think we should be good. They're not like super pigmented the way that cremes are. They're very opaque, but they're not the kind of smeary pigment that you get in cremes. So we can just go straight in with a top coat, thankfully. I feel like this stream has gone by really quickly, and I don't know if that's just because I was talking more than usual. I mean, I guess I always talk the whole time, but I don't know. Feels like it went by fast. It's just me? You're holding your breath anyway? You're worried about smudging? Zero smudging. None. I had no smudging. You used Seche Vite today? I have not used it because I can't use toluene, so. What kind of a brush does that have? Is it like one of those awful square ones? Yeah, 1.5 hours is quick, right? It feels fast. I guess normally we do more like 2 hours. I did not bring water with me either. I'm like super thirsty. I like the way that the gold magnetic came out here, especially, and I know that's because I had put the the flaky hollow underneath it. And I'm really now wishing that I had also done that for the green and red, because it gives it so much extra dimension. It's so cool. And now I really want to do a mani where I layer those two, because I just think those would be stunning together. It's an awful skinny brush, but it also encourages large beads. Ew. Sounds terrible. I'm such a fucking princess when it comes to the brushes that I use now. Like, I'll use ones that have the shitty brush, but, like, I will bitch about it the entire time. You know, like, half the time, if it's especially, like, early on, before I kind of knew more what I was looking for in nail polish, I bought a lot from a lot of different brands. And I didn't look to see what kind of a brush that they offered. And so there are a lot that, like, from my early collection where I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst. I use the polishes now and I'm just like, why? Why do you have to suck so bad? I'm going to keep using you because you're pretty, but I want you to know I hate you. I'm pleased with these, y'all. I think we came up with a fun design. I'm glad that you chose the hearts. I mean, I would have been, I think, happy with any of the potential design ideas, but I think this came out real cute. And it was actually not as difficult as I expected it to be. That's right, Jubilee Day. Also, there's a few different names that are used for Juneteenth, including Jubilee Day and Freedom Day, and there's a couple of others that I remember seeing, but I can't recall. But yeah, I guess that's what happens when you have a holiday that comes from a grassroots community place instead of from the government telling you what you should be celebrating. Although up in Canada, we have decided that we're just gonna call May 24th May Twofer. May Twofer. It's May Twofer. Because that's the day that you get your two for a beer. Everybody who is not Canadian has no idea what I'm talking about, but Ray knows what I'm talking about, and that's what matters. Of course, she's gone now. My only Canadian backup is gone. It's a 24 case of beer. It's a twofer. I have no explanation. I'm sorry. It's just Canadian things. All right, y'all. I think we're going to wrap it. And I'm going to go drink just a ridiculous amount of water because I'm incredibly thirsty from having forgotten my water bottle tonight. But thank you for coming and hanging out with me and spending time and listening to my dumbass white face talking about fucking trying to wrap my head around American history and understand all this bullshit and trying to find ways to learn things and be a reasonable voice as well as knowing when to shut the fuck up and all of that good stuff. I appreciate you. I appreciate you all a lot, and I love that you collectively encouraged me to do this. I think it came out really, really cute. So for those of you who are celebrating, I hope that you have had a wonderful Juneteenth and that the rest of your evening continues to be wonderful, and hopefully we'll have less bullshit and more good shit soon. Hopefully. Yes, and oil your nails and hug your pets. Exactly. Thank you all.